Welcome to my channel. This is a chapter review of JUJUTSU Kaisen chapter 159. We'll be starting with the summary of the events of this chapter and moving on to my opinion of the chapter, the characters, and my predictions for the next chapter if I have some. Alright, so this chapter focuses on a culling game player Higurama, who currently has I think around 102 points and has made 0 rules within the culling games. Higurama is speaking to a man named Oe. Oe says he had a cat, but the police started questioning him. Oe ran away from the police because if they had arrested him, his cat would have died, as he was not allowed to have a cat where he stayed. In March 2016, a mother and her daughter were killed. The prosecutor's office suspected that Oe had done it and arrested him on suspicion of murder and robbery. It turns out that after Oe had fled from the police, they had tailed him home, found the blade used in the murder of the mother and daughter. From there on, between him having the blade used in the murder in his possession, and since he ran away from the police, he was pretty much it was a done deal. He was guilty. That's at least what the public opinion said, what the police thought. However, Oe himself claimed that he was innocent and did not commit the crime. Well then, why did he have the blade in his home, do you ask? Well, it turns out that Oe had picked it up. Because, sure, blood-stained knife on the floor, you just pick it up, sure. He claims that he would have taken it to the police a lot earlier. I don't know why he had the chance to. This is stupid decisions did this to him, that's basically. According to Higurama, the reason he ran away in the first place because he had previously been illegally questioned by the police because someone he knew was on drugs or was in the possession of drugs. Higurama, after looking into Oe's work, a non-profit that provided shelter to elderly people who have no place to go, Higurama had discovered that the residents of the shelter Oe was working at, most of them had criminal records. Because of this, Oe could not contact police or call an ambulance, as it would disturb the residents and the neighbors. Due to the circumstances around Oe's residence, Higurama believes that Oe is innocent, but the hard part now is just proving it. Higurama orders Shimizu to look into the non-profit's activities, their taxes, and to run background checks on all the residents of the non-profit and to look after Oe's cat, while Higurama himself would ask around about Oe. Shimizu was not too enthusiastic about this, since the public assumes Oe is guilty with no chance of shortened sentences. She believes there's no point in taking an impossible case like this. Higurama, however, says that he took this case because if he just takes easy work, all his skills will get rusty. The chapter continues at a cafe belonging to Shimizu's friend, whose name is Takagi, who is also Higurama's former co-worker. Takagi tells us about a former case involving a drunk driving incident and a 19-year-old defendant. The defendant was arrested for the crime, and Higurama promised him that he would get him a suspended sentence and not that he would be found not guilty. However, the defendant claimed Higurama was a liar because the defendant believed that he would be found innocent. During the flashback, Takagi comments that while saving the weak and powerless is noble, there's not much you can do against the will of the courts. That short flashback ends and we skip ahead to Oe's court hearing. It is then that we discover the good news: Oe has been found innocent. This comes as a surprise to me since I was certain he'd actually be found guilty. But lucky guy. Well, the moment is cut short as Higurama says that they'll probably appeal the verdict. In the next few panels, it shows the public isn't happy about this situation, however, as newspapers, blogs, and social media sites trashed the verdict and prosecution, claiming they were paid off. The verdict is appealed, and in the second trial, Oe is found guilty and gets a life sentence. Oe was wrongly convicted as the prosecution's office failed to provide new evidence, and the court passed the sentence on a stupid argument and their own biases. A third trial was impossible as the system deemed him guilty from the start. Oe gives Higurama the same look the previous drink and drive defendant had given Higurama after finding out this terrible news, and her comments, "Why do they always look at me like this?" It is then we return to the previous flashback and get the reason why Higurama became a lawyer. Well, ever since he was a kid, he couldn't leave things alone if they weren't right. He comments how Lady Justice wears a blindfold to represent the law's impartiality, but the people just close their eyes so they don't have to face the truth. So in order to not abandon those that need him, he opens his eyes to their truth, even if he is the only one who will. Alright, this is my favorite part as the chapter ends with an enraged Higurama, who at this point is tired of the court system's bullshit. He bangs a gavel on the table and summons his Shikigami and says, "Everyone, sit back down. We're having a retry." Alright, so now that that chapter's over, I just want to give my opinions. We're going to start off with Higurama's character. And I must say, I'm really liking it. Higurama is the kind of character I relate to, since I love Jujutsu Kaisen, but there's not a lot of characters that just resonate with me. Probably because, well, I don't leave the house much. I probably don't have that many life experiences to actually relate to these characters. But Higurama's something I can relate to because he deals something that I personally fear the hell out, since wrongful convictions can ruin someone's life. I've heard stories about people who lost years of their life and lost tons of relationships because they were wrongly convicted of something they didn't do. Higurama's that guy that just wants to help these people even when the odds are stacked against him, and I really enjoy that. It's like kind of a noble quality in his character, but I'm kind of questioning, why does he have so many points in the culling games? Like, what happened? Because I believe Jujutsu Kaisen takes place it takes place in 2018, so this flashback happens 2016. So this is like 2 years ago. So what happened in those 2 years that caused him to become like this evil curse user, now just killing everyone, whacking them, dropping bodies, that he would get this many points in the culling games? Like, what happened? Assume that this trial was the start of it, and I assume we're gonna find out that a lot of people die next chapter, I'm assuming. Yeah, it just feels like a lot of people are gonna die at least. And I like what he said about the impartiality of the justice system and how it should not judge people based on their status or, religion, faith, race, gender. How everyone should be given a free chance. And how he says that a lot of people just don't want the truth. They'd rather believe their own biases and not put in the work to find the truth themselves. Save their own time, save themselves, their own emotions. Because if you think about it, most people really don't care about you, like what you're going through. They especially don't care about you when it comes to courts and all that stuff. That most people would probably just read your story and assume you're guilty something. And like, Higurama could probably be my favorite character in Jujutsu Kaisen right now. This was a great chapter for him. Really built on his character very, very well. I'm excited to see what his character develops into. Gege Akutami's writing has been pretty good up to this point. So, and since he's hyping this guy up, clearly he's going to be important in the culling game arc that I assume is about to start in the next chapter. Or it might already have started, let's say. So, last thing I want to talk about is his Shikigami or cursed spirit, whatever that thing is. Looks like, that smiling face mask thingy from Spirit Away. Yeah, it looks just like that, but just that dude's ugly brother that went to law school. Like, looks like a fat baby version of the Spirit Away mask demon thing. Right? It has pretty round body, pretty stitched up face, round baby like face. Has like these tiny little balloon hands, like that tire man. I forget its name. Screw it. I'll probably put up an image of it. And it has scales, those scales they use, like the court symbol or whatever. It has those just hanging out, probably weighing something. It's probably some symbolic meaning to that. And I'd assume his curse technique would be, well, it's about like judging people, since he's a lawyer or something, a defendant, and his curse technique is probably about judging people. It's probably can like dish out punishments to those that are guilty, and you know uh, probably save people that aren't guilty. Like, probably also might affect him also, probably like a double-edged sword. He can't wrongly convict someone of something if they aren't guilty of a crime. He can't, his powers probably won't work on them, but if they are, he could probably punish them with like death sentence, like an immediate death sentence, something. Because the guy looks pissed right now, and it's probably a really dangerous thing. It's probably gonna be very unique, because Gega Tami came up with like Kirara's Northern Star technique, and that was just crazy, stupid, complicated there. But I'm still pissed Fishiguro found that out. I would have never even thought about all of that. So yeah, that's Higurama's character, and now we're gonna move on to, like my predictions for the next chapter. I don't really have much. I assume we're gonna get the either the end of this backstory for Higurama, or we're gonna move into the present during the Culling Games. I'm gonna do something with that. Not really sure. Depends on how Gege is feeling right now, I guess. And I'll rate the chapter about a solid 8.5, maybe 9 out of 10. It was a really, really good chapter. I liked it a lot. It's probably one of my favorite chapters in Jujutsu Kaisen. So, well, this is the end of the video. If you liked it, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you didn't, just leave a comment telling me how I can improve the quality of the video, since I'm still learning. I literally just learned how to edit this entire video on the job. Like, this is literally my test run of all the editing software, all the voice recorders, all of that. So yeah, go easy on me, please. And I'm planning on doing chapter reviews on Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia. I'll do a chapter review of the chapter that just came out. I'll do a chapter review of the Tokyo Revengers manga, chapter 222. I'm planning on doing it before the next chapter comes out, but if I'm too late, I'm too late. It is what it is. And I'll be doing chapter reviews on Red Hood and Bleach and Burn the Witch whenever those chapters come out. Alright,